Again, so it'll bring in that weather.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. The common council meeting for November 17th. We'll start off with the
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have a public hearing tonight at 7:30 regarding the comprehensive plan. No, not ours.
Push it back.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. So when public hearing? Go ahead, turn 6 down a little bit.
Yep, I'm turning it down.
It's 2, 3.
It's 3. Oh, yep, that one got it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's better.
Okay, good to go?
Yeah.
All right, we'll have a public hearing tonight at 7:30 regarding a comprehensive plan. We'll go ahead and go down our agenda. Once we get to 7:30, wherever we're at, we'll pause our agenda to go into public hearing. Once public hearing's done, then we'll come back to our regular agenda. Does anybody in the audience have anything, questions or comments pertaining to tonight's agenda? All right, we will move on to minutes from the previous meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the previous meeting, November 3rd.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes from November 3rd. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that motion will pass. We'll get into proposed ordinance and resolutions, and I'll just give a little information on that. We will do first reading tonight on these. We have put in place, as I said last meeting, our ordinance committee. So we feel these ordinances should go through that committee, and then go from the committee to the council, and if we need to get Don involved, back to Don. So tonight we'll still do it in first reading to keep things rolling. We'll go back in, our first meeting for the ordinance committee is November 24th, which is this coming week from today at 4 p.m. We'll review these ordinances, then we'll bring them back to the December 1st meeting, and then we can do second and third reading if we want. So the first one will be proposed ordinance 1812, update fees for false fire alarms and hazardous material responses.
I make a motion we adopt ordinance 1812, update fees for false fire alarms and hazardous material responses, first reading.
Motion and second to approve ordinance 1812 on first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that motion will pass. Second one will be ordinance 1813, update fire cost recovery fund.
I'll make a motion we adopt ordinance 1813, update fire cost recovery fund, first reading.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve ordinance 1813 on first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that motion will pass. Second one, or the third one, we'll have a little bit of discussion on that one. Amend ordinance 1378 pertains to South Side Shore Mobile Home Park. So I know everyone has that information sent to you. Had Don go back and amend it, make some changes. But what that is, Andrew and I sat down with Rick and Coach from the trailer court probably a month or so ago. And it's always been an agreement there that once they hit 40 weeks out there, that their pay rate would go, they have a 6-inch meter now, but they're being charged for a 4-inch meter. Once they get to the 40 units, it was to go to that 6-inch charge. And then hydrant fees would kick in as well. They've been pretty much below that 40 for the last, Bretton, how long?
About 25 years.
About 25 years. So you know, we need housing in Butler, just like any other community, so we felt sitting down with Brett and going over this, if we can help him, because it takes about 5 units past that 40 just to break even for him. So we thought, let's not hold back if we can have some progress out there at South Shore. So we sat down and talked to him, thought it was a good idea if we would raise that to 60 units. Once he does hit that 60 unit, then the 6-inch meter will go into effect, the fire hydrant fee will go into effect. I took Gavin with the wastewater, Ron with the fire department, I took Andy with the water. They see no problems with it expanded. I think your total capacity is gonna be 73 units out there, 75?
In that ballpark, maybe.
Yeah, if you wanna go up here, Brett, why don't you come on up here? And I told him, I said, we probably should have come to you sooner, if we can help you grow and bring some more people into Butler. If you could add another 20 units with 3 to 4 people per unit, you know, that's another 60 to 80 people that we can get into Butler, and if there's at least 1 or 2 students in those units that end up getting into our school systems, you know, it's just kind of trickle down, so, we felt this is a win-win for everybody. So, you have anything you wanna add to that? What did you say you thought your was capacity was 73 to 75?
Somewhere between there and 100, depending on how some of
Okay.
the back lots would play out.
Okay. So 100 would be your max, probably.
Roughly.
So they did sell a lot of that acreage, what, 20 some acres north of you to Forest River when they bought.
So it was originally supposed to be over 200 lots, and half the land got sold off, so that's kind of where I figure we'll have about 100.
Don't you have most of your drops and stuff then, for quite a few of them already out there?
Like the water and supervisors?
Yeah.
Some of that is built out, it's been sitting there for 25 years.
Right.
So we're having to, if we use those lots, there's a lot of infrastructure costs. And that's what Mike and Andrew and I spoke about. It's, very likely never gonna grow with the current ordinance, because we would have to fill several lots just to pay the city the extra fire hydrant fees, and it just isn't worth the time or effort.
They're kind of upside down if you go to the 6-inch.
Yeah, we're
I got
working for nothing.
Another one is streets and stuff inside of there. So there is even street infrastructure to continue to develop.
Right, I understand, yeah.
Yeah, it's approved by the state originally to be over 200 lots,
I think 258 or 285.
something like
I
that.
have 2 pieces of paper that says 258 or 285, so I don't know which one was transposed incorrectly. But that dates all the way back to 2000, when that agreement was put into place. And like I said, we've had fire, wastewater, and water out there. You guys can chime in if you want, but you see no issues. We think we have capacity. Should be no issues on that side of it. No issues at all, man. And I know last year the county chipped and sealed that road, the county road 65. That road is on our community crossing grant. It does get approved, that we will mill and repave that from State Road 1 all the way over to County Road 65 and stop. Then later on, when the county comes back and does 65, they'll pave that to the railroad track. So we'll have a corridor around there that's gonna be completely asphalted. We talked to Matt about getting the speed limit sign put up there to lower the speed on it. I know that was one of the concerns when we was out there a week or so ago about traffic coming up and down there. You decided, or Matt, or come across the paperwork on that, that's a 30-mile-an-hour zone?
30 or 35,
Yeah.
without looking it up again, yeah. Even the county has it listed as 30 to 35 mile an hour.
Is it even posted?
No, it's prima facie. When there's not a sign posted at any certain intervals, it defaults back to whatever the state basically designates it as. And in this case, it's, urban, so it's 30, 35 mile an hour.
Okay. I think people could easily confuse that for just a county road, like 55 or 50.
That is, yeah. We're looking at actually getting some signs and getting some signs posted down there,
That'd be great.
to help out the situation.
Did you notice the speed picked up once that road was chipped and sealed, went from gravel to chip and seal, or they?
Maybe a little. Yeah, I would say a lot of people probably do go through there 40, 45,
Oh, my God, Lord.
but signage would be nice.
Yep.
There's a lot of kids and stuff.
They're actually working on that.
Anybody else have any questions for Britton or the amended ordinance?
I have a comment. I know of Britt, I don't know Britt personally, but he's done some things that's really helped some people out there. I know he has. And which I appreciate,
Appreciate that.
comments that I hear. So I think anything that we can do to help him out.
He keeps good property, we love
Good
it.
stuff there. Yeah, it's clean, that's nice. So I think I'm all for it.
Report, then we'll go ahead and, take a motion to amend that on first reading.
I'll make a motion to amend ordinance 1378 containing the South Shore Mobile Home Park.
Okay.
Motion and second to amend ordinance 1378 on first reading. All in favor? All opposed? Hearing none, that motion will pass. All right. Thank you, Brendan. Like I said, we have 2 more readings to go. It's gonna go to our ordinance committee. But I don't see a reason to have you back here at the other 2 meetings, so if for some reason we need you back, I'll get in contact with you.
Okay, all right. I'm good to go.
Yep, good to go.
Thank you guys.
Unless you wanna hang out with us, rest of you. Most people don't. All right, we'll move on to resolution 25-671. This will be update to the credit card policy.
Guess my only question on this, what kind of limit do we put on the credit cards?
Most of them have a $2,500 to $5,000 limit. Because a lot of times one purchase will take up $2,500. And the reason I even brought this up is because last quarter, the State Board of Accounts was asked what municipalities can do if someone uses their card without permission and or doesn't provide receipts for it. You have to have it in writing on your policy that we can collect that fee from the employee. You would think it'd be common sense, but they said we needed it. Yeah. So I made a few other changes since I had to go in there and add that one.
So we're just not going to get her Tom, Dick, and Harry credit card.
Right. And you
Somebody
don't.
has responsibility to take care of it. I'll make a motion we adopt resolution 25-671, update to the credit card policy.
Sorry. Somebody second that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. All right, I have a motion and a second.
Well, before you approve it though, if you want this to go to the committee, they can't vote on it, because a resolution's
Oh, it's a
approved with
resolution,
one.
oh, it's a resolution, you'll have to pass on one reading.
So it's up to the council.
Yeah, if you want to pass it.
Not a first reading,
This is the only
Yeah,
reading.
it's a resolution.
If we prove it here, then we don't need to take it to committee.
Correct. It's totally up to the council.
If we're gonna go that way there, I would look at one change on here then, where it says, court treasurer shall monitor and reconcile credit
What
card.
number?
2. I would like to put court treasurer and or assistant, because I know Lisa
Yeah,
handles a lot of
Lisa
that.
does that.
By that, you would want to.
We'll say- Or designee. Clerk treasurer or designee.
Yes.
So do we have to?
Make a
amend this
motion as
and start-
amended then.
Mike, you feel like you should take this to the committee?
Do we have a timeline that this has to be done?
No.
Okay. If not, we don't have the time, I would still like to bring it probably, committee, just, seems we're just starting.
It would be a good one to start a discussion on because it goes pretty in depth.
Well, that's what they're for. Yeah, so.
And plus some of the other ordinances that we're doing, like, did on first reading, it's kind of low hanging fruit a little bit on some of those that we can get in, get activated up in the process. And then start, getting into more in-depth stuff, so, yeah, I have a problem, if you wanna table it till the next one, take it up to the committee Monday.
Yeah, interesting. You good with that?
So table till next meeting then.
Okay. You might need a motion, 25,671, the update to the credit card policy until the next council meeting. Second.
Motion and second to table resolution 25-671 till December 1st meeting, all in favor? All opposed? Hearing none, that motion passed. All right, we'll get into department reports, we will start off with Ron.
The only thing I got is, just, want to let everybody know that we've started construction on the upgrades, so the water line and the electrical stuff started today, well, actually Friday, but today it went really full blast. And so hopefully by Wednesday, all the stuff will be done, I can start cleaning up around the building again. But other than that, that's all I got.
All right. Andrew.
I have the public hearing at 7:30 if anyone wants to know anything about that. Otherwise, I'll wait till public hearing.
Probably ought to get that on the record at the public hearing.
Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
if anyone wanted to know exactly, what we're doing, what it is. Yeah, we can wait.
Talk about the interlocal agreement then?
We can, I mean, it's a public hearing for both.
All for those, okay.
Yeah, technically you'll have to have the two public hearings in a row. One for the comprehensive plan, one for the interlocal.
Close it,
Yep.
open up the.
Yep.
Times two then. All right, Snap,
I have nothing for the council, sir.
okay? Stuart.
It's unfortunate, but, I've had an uptick in how many tickets I've had to write because I just can't get compliant, so I've had to start writing more tickets. That's unfortunate, it really is. Other than that, I think things are going well as far as code enforcement goes. Also looking into some safe housing issues coming into winter, being very mindful of citizenry, make sure everybody has a safe place to live through the winter and stay warm. So other than that, that's all I have going on right now.
Braxton.
Only thing I have is an update. On Thursday, we will more than likely be subbing out AES for Surf Internet. That will be for our wireless radio, and that will be, it's gonna kind of improve our internet connection, I would say 8 times as fast, starting Thursday. We might not even, you might not notice a difference between phase 1 and phase 2, because just getting, that surge of internet is gonna be insanely helpful for streaming, for everyone's work environment. This is gonna be the radio, or the signal that's broadcast to each location. And then January, February, we'll be having each site having their own independent fiber connection. That just requires us to get routers and other equipment set up to tunnel that, so, internet should hopefully be better here by the next council. And then I had one more, which was, do I need to separate the recording for the 7:30?
No.
Just keep one.
Yes.
All right. Andy.
I have nothing for the city council, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Just a couple things. We winterized our storm facility, so that's all done for the winter, since we don't have to do chlorine there. We have our UV shut down, since we're out of disinfection season now, got it shut down, clean and winterized. Our camera truck is back up and running and operating like it should be. And we did complete our industrial annual inspections on, the 11th, so those are all done for the year. That's all I have.
Okay. Done. Angela.
I have a potential update to the employee handbook. We ran into a situation where some employees didn't know what was covered and what was not covered, and our existing travel policy is very vague. So the mayor and I came up with breaking it down into 3 separate sections and clarifying what meals mean. So this would be an update to the employee handbook.
I'll make a motion for the update of the employee handbook, travel policy, as they approved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the update of the employee handbook regarding travel policy. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that motion will pass.
Thank you.
Council members, we'll start off with Tracy first.
Of course you do. The only thing that I had was, the house on Broadway that is very small that just got built. They had a company not too long ago, and they not only were over the sidewalk, but they were out in the road.
That's after we left one of the meetings, I think.
Yes, I noticed it, yes.
Yeah, Stuart saw that.
I've already contacted them twice about their parking situation. They park beside the house, they park out in the street. They are becoming dangerously close to getting a ticket, because when I was going home, the double back bumper of that van was sticking out on a highway.
Yeah.
If there was a semi coming both ways, it got wiped out.
Yeah.
They have not been very kind in their response to me. I received a pretty nasty email from them. It won't happen again without a ticket. But thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, I've talked to them about 4 times now.
Just a side note, if somebody's parked and they are creating obstruction out into the roadway, if they're blocking any decent portion of that roadway, we can tow it as well.
So that for hours, I thought about calling.
I had thought about going as well, but.
Yeah, see it again after hours, what then, I think we go 5 PD and what they did.
Where was it at?
305.
That new house.
North Broadway,
Gail.
I have none.
Darren?
I only have a question, I guess it would be more for the city. The outhouse out at Maxton's. Is that like a seasonal thing?
They keep that out there almost year round.
It's going.
It's going.
Okay, yeah.
I noticed that.
Yeah, because they had a,
I'll have to check what they think. I thought that was the year round, but it just was like this last year round.
Yes.
and they had a disc golf tournament out there last weekend, and the girls really didn't have anywhere to go with that, for the restroom. I don't know.
I guess we didn't know that this one from here either. Yeah, but remember, they got their paperwork out.
And we're supposed to,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I
I'll check with you and see why it's going on.
I looked around in the ditch to see if somebody knocked it over, shoved it down the ditch. I looked all over for it, today's gone.
Don't know, say something's on it. Okay. Christie.
I don't have anything today.
Angela.
I did forget one item. I had it buried because it came in late. We have received our 1782 notice from the Department of Local Government Finance. What that means is they have approved our budget as written, and we do not have to cut any budget lines at this time.
At this time.
At this time.
Like those 3 words. Okay. All right, I just have 3 things to bring up, and then we'll keep an eye on the time. We have 5 minutes before the public hearing. Just want to let you know, I did talk to NDOT today about progress out here on the US 6 state line. They anticipate being done after Thanksgiving into the first week of December. The backfill on now, everything's been in place. They've got to do a little bit of restoration, get ready, get prepped for asphalt, get back to plant seed, so on and so forth. So he says definitely after Thanksgiving, but hopefully by the end of the first week of December. Secondly, some of you know, some of you don't. You know, Bill had resigned, but he officially left Butler Friday morning and arrived in Utah yesterday afternoon. So he's safe and sound. Already sent me a beautiful picture from the front porch, sitting alongside the mountain. So hoping to be something there. And just give you an update on the monster truck event this weekend. They had their Hall of Fame inductions. Had almost 300 people out
I
there.
say it back all day long.
Yeah, it was back Friday night, Saturday morning, and then Saturday evening. 300 people, almost 300 at the event, and it sold out for the induction ceremony that night. There's 27 different states represented, plus 2 countries, or 3 countries, but they also have representatives from Mexico and Canada. So it's kind of phenomenal to see.
Into the comprehensive plan, that's something that we added wholly new. What that does, some people confuse it with zoning. So everybody's parcels have a certain, I'm agriculture and industry. I am,
It's not that we're rezoning, what we're doing is saying, I'll give you some examples. So the future land use map over on the west side of the city shows more commercial. Because we would see if commercial came in, we would kind of want some of that commercial to go that way. Let's just say something decided to come in like around the McDonald's and Subway area and all those different things. Like we would expect more things like that to come in there. We wouldn't expect someone to put a house up right by McDonald's. We would expect another business to go around that area. So that's what a future land use map is. This area, we generally see this. Down towards the southeast side, where we have a lot of industry, the future land use map shows that like we would want industry to kind of go in this general area if it's gonna go anywhere. Residential, the north side of the city is mostly residential. We would expect any new residential areas. That doesn't mean a one-off house. That doesn't mean infill lots. That means, hey, if we got an entirely new subdivision, we would expect it to go in this area, and that's what the purpose of that future land use map. It is a requirement by Indiana code to have the comprehensive plan. Like I said, it plots our future, and for us to really do zoning, we need to do that, and we need to keep them updated. Butler does have a comprehensive plan. I think it was passed in 2001. And it's 2025, so it's time for us to update for the next, 15, 20 years. So that was the point, like, let's dust this guy off. There was a lot of work, there was a lot of different analysis, soil types, SWOT analysis, what could go here, what couldn't go here. So we used a lot of that, but we just kind of updated it, made it more current, and are moving it through. Now, the part that seems more controversial to that is there is an area, a buffer area around the city. It is called the extraterritorial jurisdiction. What this does is this allows the city to approve zoning requests instead of the county, okay? Now, we have always had, in part, I believe Chris Gowmer told me it was 2019 or 2020 they updated this. We have an agreement, but not in writing with the county. Here's how we handle the ETJ. It is now a requirement. So the next public hearing is gonna be about about that specific agreement. But what the ETJ does is instead of someone going to the county and saying, hey, I'd like to build a house, I need a permit for this house, is this okay? They would instead come to Butler and come to the planning department here. We do the analysis, we do the research, and we give approval to do that. That is not to say that if you're agriculture and you want to, put up something, I can't tell you no if it's an accepted use. It's, I would do the research, I would make sure all of the stuff is within line of the ordinance, but I can't be allowed to do. A couple of things that are not happening. So this is not going to change taxes in any way, shape, or form. Consider them two completely separate things. So you have zoning and land use, what you can do with your land by the letter of the law. And then you have taxing and what they consider your land to be. So I'll give the example of SDI because I love this example. SDI, let's say they have 500 acres. It's this big company and they're only using 300 acres of it as actual buildings and structures. They are being charged heavy industrial for those 300 acres. The other 200 acres that are vacant land are, the county considers to be vacant land and they are being taxed on that vacant land, not on heavy industrial for that vacant land. I can't change that with the zoning. I can just say, hey, you're currently commercial, you want to put in a business, do you follow all the zoning regulations? And if you do, cool, move forward. The other thing that would happen is if they needed to go for a variance, so let's say we run into this a lot in the city, our setbacks for houses are typically 20 foot or 30 foot. And a lot of times people want to move those slightly because they want to build just a little bit bigger house. It makes sense a lot of times because our neighborhoods, our historical neighborhoods are closer anyways. They're usually not 20 foot away from the set or from the property line. So they would also bring a Board of Zoning Appeals, a request for a variance or a request for a use exception to Butler instead of going to the county. So classically, we've had a border on the east and on the north and a little bit on the northwest. This was, I think, also 2 planners ago, it was proposed to expand our ETJ. So this is a part of this is an expansion. Part of the comprehensive plan is an expansion of the ETJ south and east that makes more of a perfect square around our city and gives us the same buffer zone on the south that we have on the north. So it's not, we're allowed to go up to 2 miles. We would never do that. We're not big enough to do 2 miles. It doesn't make sense for us. We did what makes sense to kind of square that off perfectly for Butler. So like I said, we don't affect taxes, but zoning, getting permits and things like that, people in the ETJ would come to Butler to do that instead of going to the county for permission. Any questions from you folks?
One of the misconceptions too that we entered the planning commission meeting was people thought this was annexation.
No. Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. And the mayor made a great point at the planning commission meeting. Butler, we've never forcefully tried to annex anyone. We don't intend this. A lot of people have asked me, what are you gonna annex? This was something that was brought up 2 years ago, that it made sense to box this off. And it seemed like the perfect opportunity with the passing of a comprehensive plan to follow through on that goes 2 planners back. There is no current plans to annex anything. It just makes sense to have the same buffer on the north and south. Another good one actually is the Tricross.
The motocross.
Motocross, sorry, I always mess up, slaughter the name there. But they had some concerns about would we be enforcing our citywide noise ordinances on them? No, we're not. We're not. That's our city rules here. Those don't apply to them. We're taking care of the zoning. We're taking care of exception requests, but we're not implementing our city rules onto them in any way like that.
Weren't they concerned a little bit about us, the city of Butler, forcing water usage and stuff like that?
Yes. So that, and I want to talk about that specifically when we go into the next one for the interlocal agreement. Yes. So if you were commercial, we brought you into our commercial zoning. If you were industrial, we brought you into our industrial zoning. If you were agriculture, so I think there was 3 or 4, there's only 1 parcel of land that will change as we bring it into this. There is a section of Malcolm Farms that is farmland. And for some reason, it has been zoned residential for a long time and it doesn't make any sense. So us bringing them in, they will be taken to our agricultural district that are residential. It makes sense to do that. So that's the only parcels we're changing. We looked into a couple other ones, also for the motocross. They actually were proper. They were done properly. It was a matter of the county saying that they used the land for this as comparatively to what it was zoned. We're bringing everyone in at the same zoning they had except for that one parcel.
Was that their request as well?
I had a conversation with them because it made sense. Yep.
All right, if anybody in the audience has any questions, please come up to the microphone and state your name and your address.
Hi, my name is Melinda Perkins. We live 6744 County Road 32, which most of you would probably call South Shore Drive. We live across from the mobile park. We have about 7 acres. I don't know a lot about zoning, residential, agricultural. I don't know a lot about it. What I do know is that we are starting our 4th year here. My husband works here at State Bank. I work at the high school. And we looked for 2 years to find property to buy here. It was always the dream to have a little bit of acreage so that we can have animals. With this plan, with the rules that Butler currently has, I'm not sure that we would be able to have we would get cows, some sheep, some chickens, and we were going to, the long-term goal is to plant 5 acres over hay. So that's a long-term goal. We spent everything we had to afford the property that we bought. And we can't do it yet because I know that we already had the animals. You couldn't make us get rid of them, but we can't afford to buy them yet. And that is my concern with this proposal.
The wall within our agricultural district, so unless you want to do like an IDEM, either thousands of animals.
Okay, so we're good then?
Yeah, we're not
South side of 65, or south of Drive.
Yes.
Let's go county or city limits.
And I gotta look real quick what you're doing.
Yes, I think we're zone rural residential.
What was that, your address again?
6744 County Road 32.
Can I ask you what, city codes will not apply to the ETJ, correct?
No.
You're not becoming part of it.
Like the city code of no chickens right now, that will not apply.
Okay.
That's, this is, the ordinances for the city, that were, it's just for city.
Okay.
We have,
That was our concern.
yes, no, we're not.
Anyone else, but that was our concern, because we wouldn't have bought the property if we had known. I mean, why are we 7 acres?
Or not becoming part of the city.
Okay, as
Yeah.
wonderful as Butler is, and I'm sure you guys are. We just.
No, I get it. That's kind of right.
No, that's just like the noise ordinance. Our noise ordinance is not gonna apply to the ETJ.
Okay.
Just our zoning.
And do I need to get that in writing, or do I have to come to you if I want animals and say, hey, can I have? I can just.
You know.
If you're building a cow, this is usual.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you were allowed to do before, you're pretty much allowed to do. Now, I need to, you said it was 6744.
Yes, sir.
And I would like to look this up because you are residential anyways.
Yes.
Within the county. County Road 34?
County Road 32.
32, sorry.
That's okay.
And your name?
Melinda Perkins.
What's your phone number?
812-636-4279.
Perfect. I'll just kind of hold here, I'll show you exactly how you read the zoning and everything you can do, and we'll just walk through it. We're not changing that kind of stuff. You
don't see anything now.
I don't see any issue with what you want to do. Like I said, we're trying very hard as we move people over to take away no rights. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for us to push. It makes sense for us to have a buffer.
We are in that zone.
Yes, and pretty much Auburn has one, Waterloo has one, Butler has one, St. Joe is getting one. I don't think Corona has one because Corona really, everything is done by the county, literally all zoning. Garrett has one. It just makes sense. It's for us to know what's going on and you can come here. The zoning, we're translating you if you're residential, we're translating you to that residential. If you were, ag, we're translating you to ag. We're making that translation across one for one.
Okay. If we are zoned residential and we wanted to switch to being zoned agricultural, we would come to you.
Go for a rezone, yep.
Okay.
You come to me for a rezone, and if you're out there, you're gonna get a lot of times it makes sense.
And that would be something that we would need to do before.
Yeah, just come to me and initiate it, but I can show you that, I can give you that process.
Thank you.
That's it, so over there.
Yeah.
I just want to let everybody here know that the Butler Police will not be enforcing any city limits or any city ordinance violation outside the city limits. Come or code, or code.
Larry Kigley, 4371 State Road 1, Butler. I'm here for the last meeting. I understood, I believe, Andrew to say, for building, we would come to the city for like outbuildings.
City for an improvement location. So here's your permission to go do this. If you're building an actual building, something structural, there are some times that you have to go to the county, and the reason is because, they have an actual building inspector. We're not big enough to keep our own. So while we do our zoning, we do permission and these different things. If you actually are building a structure, we send it to the county because the building inspector, Jack Martin, will come out here and do that inspection. So that's the process.
Okay. So if something we need an inspection for, we go to the county.
You come here first and say, yep, this is good, they're here. Email it off to the county, and then your legislation has permit. Along with that.
Okay, so I got to go.
You don't necessarily have to go to both. A lot of times we'll go to me and I'll just send it off to the county. We're also getting ready to fully implement online, so we're hoping that you don't have to come see me. I don't want them to. If you have questions, but we're trying to get it online so that people can do it as more of a process and not have to do it first. But the worst case scenario, you would come see me here. And then, yeah.
What's I've been around here a long time, and I don't understand why we need this buffer zone.
So it allows the city to be aware of what is going on around them, what kind of development is going on. It allows us to get our eyes on it beforehand. Let's say that you live right outside the city and you're zoning, say you're part of the EPA, right? You're zoning, you wanted to put up a building and you follow all the other. I can't tell you you can't do that. So it's not a control thing, it's a kind of control. But we want to understand what type of development is happening outside the city. And hopefully, it's something that's going to majorly affect the city. We work with you first and we work with the county. What can we do lessen that kind of guide where it goes? Yeah, I mean, it helps us understand what's being built around the city.
You know, a lot of it was just, but you're not making. Andrew, guys would come to Butler first, as Andrew said, and hopefully you streamline your to make it work. You wouldn't have to make it.
So something I discussed with the motocross. So let's just say the noise ordinance. Let's say that someone wanted to build a house and they came to me and they said, hey, I'd like to put a house up right out here. I could say, but hey, just so you know, there is more buses, they do guys late into the evening, it's really loud. That's not going away, but they're allowed to do that, you do that, that's part of business. Do you really want to build there? If they're fine with it, then you have it. But maybe they decided they want to go somewhere else, you know, around this area, or build a house not quite as close to that area that's going on. It gives us an idea of what's happening locally, and as people that are, it would go to our local plan, people that know what they're going around. So there's just another, really gives you the community making decisions, you know, trying to help you out, and hey, if you don't want to go close to this really loud place, it allows it to stay local.
Well, like you said, you know, build next to the track and say, that's probably not the best place, or, but then you can go to them and say, push in residential on the north side.
Right.
But that's a residential, you know, consider looking there, or if you're a small industrial commercial building, someone close to residential, if you come in and say, this is more residential, we do have a corridor set up for industrial. Like I said, I don't know what's going around, and something doesn't pop up that, shouldn't.
The county also doesn't want it, so the county doesn't know the Butler community. I mean, some people know, well, we're Butler, they don't know Butler community, so if someone's coming into our community and they go to the county, I don't really ever know that happens. I don't know what's out there, but if they come here, we want them to be part of our community, we would like them involved in Butler, so it's an opportunity and, you know, the community.
One of my biggest problems with becoming part of this ETJ, which I know is gonna go through, you guys, it's gonna happen. Well, they passed it tonight, it still has to be approved by the county commissioners. So,
And it still goes through county plan commission as well to discuss.
but we don't have the right to vote. I mean, we're governed by the city, but we don't have a vote in the city election.
So I gave it a thought after the planning commission meeting. So if you guys you have representatives, you have ETJ representatives, we're actually getting ready to put another one on board. So you have 2 ETJ representatives. They both have to own land in the ETJ, and at least one of them has to physically live there. So they are on the planning commission and taking all this out. If we gave you guys the right to have a vote, you would then have the ability to vote on people that are making changes to taxes, yet those taxes would not affect you because you're not part of the city. So it wouldn't be right to give you guys the ability to vote someone in who might change the tax structure of the city, and everyone in the city is being charged for taxes when it doesn't affect you because you're in the ETJ. So we're not changing what you're paying. By us putting you as part of the ETJ, we're not changing your tax structure at all. So, you know, you go back to that. You know, no taxes, no taxation without representation, full thing. We're not changing anything with taxes. That's, you don't have the right to vote on our elected officials who could do that.
But you can't vote on a commission, we have a decision.
Yes.
You are on that, so you can't vote. So, city, you can't.
Unless you live in the city.
Correct.
Yeah.
And just like the city is not going to enforce any of our ordinances, our code, we're not gonna come out and make you, you know, turn off your music at our regulated hours. We're not gonna come out and give you parking tickets or none of that stuff will ever be enforced by people on the ETJ. It's just the zoning and you coming here and us using our zoning and giving you guys permission as opposed to the county.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience have anything to address?
Dean Malcolm, 7157 County Road 34. I've been in the county for over 25 years. I have a hog house that has not been used keep up with the IDM regulations. Am I still in the future decided to remodel the house, or we have?
With it. How many hogs are in it?
How many can there be? I don't know. We are raising people. And now we've had up to, I mean, we could get up to 400 or 500 head.
That's not in UTJ.
Yeah.
Is it?
Where I live.
It was the one, the mountain, wasn't that the one where we put the
Yeah, that you
small
removed.
square?
Oh, you're at the very bottom chunk of that.
No, north or south, east, 7157. County Road 34, in the southeast corner.
We can start, so. Regardless, it's an existing business. So even with, matters, even if it's like your research, first, but right now you're residential. We're taking you back to agriculture. That part doesn't make sense to your farm. Everything we're actually giving,
I don't know how it got.
it doesn't make any sense. But we are giving you more rights to because ag, but with an existing business, there's always a certain amount you can go up and a certain amount you can. The other thing is you can always file for a variance. They're not the ETJ different than, I mean, we're not gonna say, hey, you're 3/4 of a mile outside of town. We're gonna endorse, you know, we're gonna enforce more restrictions on you're going from residential to agriculture. You're gonna be able to.
Well, right now, I can't foresee anything, but I got always involved with it. And that all can change as we go on, and I want to make sure we're all.
I don't force you. If you're going from residential to agriculture, you're
Okay. The only problem you would have is, and you would have this both with a county and is if your agriculture use was large enough to be a CAFO. Yeah, okay, that would be the only problem.
And I want to perceive that, I don't want to be a ever.
Okay.
that is the only, I mean, that really is the only.
That's regulated by the state as well as local government. Correct. You have the same problem in the county as you would have. Correct.
And that's what we really get to those IDM restrictions where you're considered a CAFO. It's the only.
There's certain wrong. Right. But you know, we've got what, 80,000. But chicken going, just back to the east of you on 28.
Yes, I don't know if all been approved yet, right?
That's the preliminary side of it. We received our notice from the city side that we received it. Of course, I didn't issue any of that.
Okay. I have a couple other questions here pertaining to your, with the police department. Sure. Like I said, I'm there, what about that situation, call 911 and.
Well, I'll just say this, any life happens within relative area of the city, if our officers are available, they're going. The county, it doesn't matter.
Situation, nothing major, but you guys did, I just want to change it.
As far as I'm concerned, nothing changed. I don't want.
And I have another question, I don't know how to change this one, but being in Wilmington Township, my wife is upset somewhat about it. Why can't we get a library card?
Sorry, I didn't agree, it was $180.
I got a daughter and a daughter-in-law, both school teachers. They're in Butler. And, this has gone on for 25 years. It's ridiculous. on this. My kids, they went to the Catholic school in Edgerton, Ohio. And actually, sure. I have 4 kids over there, but they all graduated out of east side up here. On that, and have to, what's the proper way? I want to hear an answer.
She's president of the library.
Yes, I can answer that. So the Butler Library is also its own taxing district, which is what we're talking about here. The Butler Library's taxing district is only the city limits of Butler. The library would welcome any of the townships to allow us to expand to their areas. So you would need to get the township trustee board to approve joining the library taxing district.
I have property in Stafford and Bloomington. I think Stafford is the cheap.
Yes, because Stafford does pay more. They give donations
We
to
get,
the
we get a
library.
donation, we get a reduced rate.
Yeah, because our.
Now, on the student side, the Butler Library does give free cards to students, no matter where they go to school at. That might be different from when your
They
children.
could have one there, but that's been the thing for years with our family and what have you, and it's kind of sad when you.
Yes.
The library, I'm not going to the library, but I mean, the education that you're get there, and I've got a daughter that's in the education world, is just, I think that we need to do something about it. So-
Yes, so you would want to contact your township trustee, which would be Heather Bledsoe for Wilmington Township.
I know that probably wasn't part of the meeting here, but it come to my head, so.
Yes, but I can answer your question.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience? Have anything? Regarding topic plan? I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. All right, now we go to public hearing for the interlocal agreement regarding zoning subdivision control.
Take a vote, or we do it at the end.
What's that?
Take a vote on that one.
No, do it together or?
Vote for use. Comprehensive plan first.
Okay, let's go back to the comprehensive plan. So we just need a motion from the council. All right,
I make a motion that, we accept the 2025 city comprehensive plan.
that motion in a second to approve the 2025 comprehensive plan. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion will pass. All right, now we'll get back into the public hearing for the interlocal agreement regarding planning, zoning, subdivision control, permitting, and enforcement.
So, as I was saying, you have the comprehensive plan, and you have the extension to the ETJ, all part of that comprehensive plan. The interlocal agreement required now, it is very new. It is the boilerplate agreement they have with Auburn, it is the agreement that they have with Gary. The only thing that we did is we added a little extra verbiage so that it really made no sense. The city can always say, we're not going to force you to provide, we're not going to force you to do this. The general rule, boilerplate rule, is lost 2 times. Would put in, where that goes. Twice as expensive as it would be to put in the septic. You're always, you can do the septic. But unless there's infrastructure there, we're not going to force anyone to go. And we put in extra verbiage specifically for that. So we say, no, that doesn't make sense. It costs a lot. So oftentimes, it does not make sense for the city to try to expand somewhere if it's going to cost an incredible. So this is a state agreement, as Garrett said, Auburn, same agreement as anyone who, I think St. Joe technically, St. Joe is working on something, but they haven't no agreement. It was, this is an actual written agreement of exactly what we're doing in the ETJ today, except for giving us a little more room to say no.
Anybody anyone in the audience have any questions on the interlocal agreement? Any questions? We'll go ahead and close the public hearing. On the agenda, so we will. We get ahead of
Local cooperation between DeKalb County and the city of Butler.
So, second to the interlocal agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Pass. Now,
I can just make a, just so everyone's aware, and we're going to talk to during. This will go to the county. They will discuss, they will move it for the commissioners, whether they're favorable, unfavorable, no recommendation. They don't keep it away. Go to the commissioners at the law. They're going to meet next Monday, I think. I think it's next Monday. The next commissioners meeting should have this on it for them to approve or deny. We should hopefully have it all by the end of the year.
in the audience or the council pertaining to the agenda. So moved. All right, we adjourn, 7.